Kirk Hilliard.
It's Rusty Bird. It's the Kirk and Byrd Show. And we are going to do a VCU Peninsula District Baseball Classic show tonight. We have got with us the great, I'm going to say Blair first, Blair Wood, because he went to Bethel, home of champions. All right, my dog Blair. And we've got Mark Dunford, a pretty good baseball player out of Phoebus back in the day. No, I got mad love for that Phoebus dude. He also played for VCU, which is the most important thing. Mark Dunford, Blair Wood, baseball legends are joining me and my partner, Kirk Hilliard.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks.
I'm
Thanks
glad to
for
be
having
here.
us.
Thanks for the invite.
So
Really
for our
appreciate it.
audience, we've been talking for like 20 minutes, and I was telling the guys, we got to save some of these stories. So Blair saved a good VCU. So we were talking about Chris Pender and some of the other guys. Tune into this. Do us a favor. Subscribe to our show. It means a lot. We work pretty hard on it. And we're on all the social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. So at any rate, we want to catch everybody up with what these two guys have been doing. So Mark was 1985 graduate of Phoebus High School. That was the year that Phoebus tied Kickotan for the district championship, one of the best baseball teams in Phoebus history. Their JV team went undefeated. And then Blair graduated in 1986 from Bethel. Great baseball tradition over at Bethel. I think Theo Johnson threw two or three no-hitters your senior year. And then some of the other guys, and this is going to be fun going back in memory lane. We also want to talk about VCU baseball, but Rusty, let's get everybody caught up. Mark, where are you now?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm up in Northern Virginia and I sell insurance. I have my own agency here in Winchester. I've been up here since 2010.
Right.
So look, hold on. This is something, and Blair, when you promote, bro, I got you on here to promote your stuff. Now we're gonna let you do it again at the end, but tell us about where can they find you?
Yeah, Mark,
what type of
business,
insurance?
man. We have a lot of fans up here in Northern Virginia.
There you go.
And
Yeah,
maybe if this gets enough viewers, then we can convince you to help be a sponsor for the Kirk and Byrd Show down the line. Yes.
www. Dunford Insurance. Is that correct, Mark?
Dunfordinsurance.com. Absolutely.
Rusty, make sure that everybody sees that, and we get a
I will.
All right, and we got a code. We got a QR code for a discount. No, all right. And Blair, you are still down on the peninsula. You live in York County. Catch us up with what you're up to.
Yeah, I'm actually a finance manager for Amazon. I work out of the home most of the time, and then I do work. My office is in Arlington, Virginia, so I travel up every couple of weeks for a few days to work up here as well. But yeah, I'm an Amazon finance guy.
Bethel is running Amazon with Darren Fullwood being in charge of the HQ2. And
that's where I work.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
Wow.
Darren kind of told me about a couple job openings, and we're buddies for years. I mean, from the time we were 12 years old. So cool to work with him.
That is great. Now, Blair, I know you also didn't you spend time at Liberty Baptist?
Yeah, I did. I was finance and operations manager at Liberty Baptist Church back home for 10 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Sure was.
Good stuff. All right. So I'm glad we're able to catch up. But we had I used VCU as kind of a theme. Blair.
Go Rams, baby.
Yeah. So I have been. So for those that don't know, of course, Mark and Blair played baseball for VCU, and if you've attended VCU, you know we've got nothing but crazy love for our school. You know, we've been to the Final Four in basketball, but we've had a long tradition of great basketball, tennis, our tennis program, our golf, and soccer program over the years have really done some outstanding things. I'd like to, before we go back into you guys growing up on the peninsula, tell us a little bit about your time at VCU and anything, because I'd like to just touch on the fact that VCU was in the college baseball playoffs tournaments last year. And we had a pretty decent run. We started, I thought we were going to get by UNC with that first win, but tell us a little bit about VCU baseball and over the last 30 some years of it. and your
Well,
experiences.
Well, it's a long story, but to kind of summarize, I got up there in the fall of '85, and VCU had their first winning program in 1986 when Blair came. So, and then from then on, state, it's all, there you go. And then from then on, you know, through recruiting and building that program, they've done wonderful things there.
Yeah.
I played under Guzzo, Coach Guzzo and
I
Coach
remember
Paul
him.
Keys. And Paul Keys.
And Mark,
So-
I had stopped your junior or senior year. You guys, you know, y'all went pretty far that year, I believe, didn't you?
Yeah, we won my junior year, we won the first Sun Belt Conference
Right.
tournament that the first conference
That's right.
championship that the school had learned.
Do you guys remember? Yeah, Troy Harris. He lives
Yeah.
up here, and
Does he really? Yeah, I
yeah, I've
remember
seen
Troy,
Troy
yeah.
over the years
Mhm.
because our sons have played like youth football against each other, 7-on-7. So, and we played flag football in men's leagues against each other over the years. So I haven't seen him now in about 4 years when our sons were going into their freshman year. But that I just remembered that Troy's a great guy, and I've seen him a couple times over the years.
Yes.
Mark, didn't you go up there with wasn't his name Juan Serrano from Denby?
Mhm.
Yeah, there was a lot of guys from the peninsula that
Yeah.
came to VCU. Wani was from Denby. Before him, it was Billy Webster. He
Billy
was the
Webster,
first
yeah.
Peninsula guy to go up. And
Phenomenal.
Johnny Callis from Yorktown was up there with us.
Billy Wright from
Craig Davis from Ferguson. Billy Wright from Minchville. Yeah, we had a lot of Peninsula guys. It was a lot of fun.
yeah.
It's nice to have them on my team instead of playing against them. I can tell you that.
We talked about, I think Billy Webster. I don't know if it was when Ron Peterson was on the show, but we talked about Billy because I lived in grew up in Hampton, but for 2 years I lived in Denby, and Billy Webster was like the guy I looked up to because he was, when I was in maybe the 7th or 8th grade, this is before I moved back to Hampton. I saw Billy Webster like at the Little Sioux at Denby in front of where I lived over by
Little
Courthouse
Sioux,
Green.
man, that was memory
And,
lane. Little
like,
Sioux.
Billy Webster,
Little Sue.
yeah.
Ice cream.
So Billy Webster played basketball. He was the quarterback. He was the star baseball player. And I remember seeing him because at that Little Sioux, that was the only place. It was like, there was a Miss Pac-Man or Pac-Man, I don't even know, and a Gallagher. And he was playing before I played. I was like, that's Billy Webster. That's Billy Webster. And then he was at VCU.
Heck of an athlete.
Oh my
Great
gosh,
athlete,
yeah.
great athlete. Unfortunately, during
Yeah.
the time I was there, he had that tragic accident,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
passed away.
Yeah, he's the only guy I ever remember could throw the ball from center field and throw it into the bleachers and not even hardly try. I mean, he could run like a horse. He was just a heck of an athlete.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy. I mean, my freshman year, you know, of course, I was fortunate. Mark was there. Billy Wright was there. I mean, you still had some guys looking out for me, but Billy Webb really looked out for me. He kind of like took me under his wing. So he very important part of my freshman year there for sure.
What conference were you guys in when you
Sun Belt.
Doing the Sun Belt.
Oh, Sun Belt was a great conference. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about your career there, Mark?
I remember playing against. It wasn't what I thought it was going to
Go ahead.
be.
Continue your thought. You said you remember playing against. Go ahead.
I was going to say I remember playing against Billy in high school, and to give him some more props, I think he was 4 for 4 and stole like 8 bases against me. You couldn't hold the guy on. He was so fast.
He was incredible.
You blink and he's standing on second. I'm like, where did he come from? He was that good, not to exaggerate.
Yeah.
He was that good. But you ask about my career at VCU, it wasn't what I thought it'd be. You know, I had a lot of success when I was young, and I thought, you know, I'd just go to college and get better. And I learned real quick that everybody in college was really good. So I had to learn how to pitch. To sum it up, my freshman year, I got into 2 games and did terrible, and I didn't know how to pitch. I knew how to throw.
Wow.
You know, I was playing against everybody's best in college, so I learned how to throw a changeup, and it saved me because I didn't throw hard enough to get it by college athletes. I threw 84, 85 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and so I finally learned how to throw a changeup, and then from then on, I had some success. I won 18 games in a row without losing,
Wow.
and yeah, I had a lot of fun. I mean, we were loaded. We had a lot of talent on the team. I wasn't afraid to let the ball be put in play. I mean, we had Blair, I'll tell you, we had a heck of a defense behind me. I thought I had the best catcher in the conference.
Yeah.
Adam Nicely, his brother played in the big leagues for the Reds, Alan Nicely. But it was just a lot of fun. Those guys were so good. And so we played in the diamond, the Richmond Braves diamond. So as a pitcher, I had it made. I mean, I think I give up 2 home runs my whole career. But we had a lot of fun. We won that Sun Belt Conference my junior year. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That year was 1988. I was 9-0. So
Wow.
that was fun.
Mark,
Yeah.
Mark's being very humble. Mark was great. He was a great pitcher, great teammate. Yeah, Mark, you had a great career.
Blair, what position did you play? I forgot to ask you before we started.
That's all right. The majority of the time I watch Mark and everybody else pitch, but I was a second baseman and shortstop, middle infield guy.
Yeah. Now, did you guys get the opportunity to play against? Sorry, Rusty. Did you guys get the opportunity to play with or against? I would think, being the Sun Belt, some guys that went on to play in the majors. Anybody would stick out?
Yeah, we played. Oh God, what was the guy for Charlotte? The shortstop, Stu Cole.
Yeah.
Yep, Stu Cole. Of course,
yeah. I played against a couple of guys. Who was the
guy that pitched for Virginia Tech? Brad Duvall. He's a first round pick. We faced him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking of the lefty from
the
Alex
baseman?
Gonzalez. The lefty who had the blue pit in the World Series to win it for Arizona, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, I know who you're talking about.
Gonzalez.
Yeah.
He played at Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, what about this? What wasn't?
Yeah,
OD...
we of course had guys on our team that played in the big leagues.
Oh yeah. Didn't ODU have a great baseball program over these years?
Yeah.
Doing some of that the time you were there. Who was the big guy from Hampton High School? Let's go back to the Peninsula District now.
Barry Miller.
There you go, Barry Miller.
There.
Yo,
Barry Miller.
Let's go back now and let's talk about you guys' years playing high school baseball in the Peninsula District. Because we just talked about some of them that went to VCU, but I remember Barry Miller. I mean, just tell us a little bit about your time playing in the Peninsula District, and then we'll go back before that. After that, we'll go back to even youth baseball and all. But the Peninsula District during that time.
Blair, you want to go? You go first.
It was tough. It was a good district. I mean, day in and day out. We play 2-3 games a week. So let's just say I'm at Bethel, and this week we play Phoebus and Hampton. Well, we're going to face flamethrowing Mark Dunford and flamethrowing Frankie Driver at Hampton.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, and then the next week, we're going to play, Kickingham and Minchville, and you got to face, Tad Pabst, or you got to face Brian Wheeler.
Yeah.
Then you got to go over to Minchville, and Brian was my cousin. And then you got to go to Minchville and face Mark Parnell, and then you go play Ferguson, you face Andy Beasley, and you play against Sam Rose, and it was just stud after stud.
Rose played for JMU, didn't he? Didn't Rose play for JMU?
He did. He was a catcher for them.
Yes, catcher, third baseman.
Blair's describing it the right way. The Peninsula District baseball in the 80s, it was tough. I mean, even before us, I learned how to pitch from a guy named Timmy Burcham.
Yeah.
Best curveball I've ever seen.
Over Kington. He played with my brother Mike, and I learned how to throw curveball watching that guy play. I mean, talent after talent after talent, and it didn't matter who you're playing, everybody was talented.
Yeah, and Mark, you remember Clay Robertson at Denby?
Yep.
Yeah,
he threw absolute gas. I just remember, there was no easy day. I'm saying, we had Theo Johnson pitching for us. I mean,
Yeah,
and Ray Garrison and Robbie Harrell and these guys. And so it wasn't easy
Robbie
playing
Harrell.
Bethel. It wasn't easy playing Bethel either. But it was just there were some battles back then. It was a lot of fun. I mean, there's no easy day.
Yeah.
And that was before any travel ball or any AAU stuff. And
Yeah,
we didn't have any of that.
American Legion.
We just had
American Legion.
we
Oh, I got to throw one other name out there.
we had Little League. You played Pony League. You played American Legion. That was it.
That was it. David Salmons was an absolute stud. Went to UVA. I mean,
I'll tell you guys a quick story about David Salmons. I got a phone call when I was 16 years old. It was cutting grass. Mark, you got a phone call. I go inside. It's the coach at UVA. Hey, what time's your game tonight? I'm coming to see you play. I was 16.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
It was the American Legion. It was an American Legion game, and Salmons pitched against me. Had a great game, and I think I was done after the third inning or something. They signed Salmons instead of me.
Hey, Mark, I got a quick story.
But when I was
for everybody,
hold on, when I was a senior in high school, I got a little even on this one. He played us at Phoebus, and Guzzo had already signed me, and UVA had signed him. We played him. I threw a 3-hitter and had 3 hits and had like 15 strikeouts. Both coaches were at Phoebus. Guzzo was there to see me, and I'm trying to think of the UVA coach now. Womack. I think was his name.
Womack.
He was there to see Salmon, so I got a little even. But David was a great guy, very talented pitcher. He was really good.
What were the so I remember 48 was Phoebus
Legion.
Kickotan and Phoebus, but as you came, I don't know what direction it would be. I guess it would be towards Newport News was 31, right?
31 was Hampton, yeah.
And some of the Phoebus guys. Now, what about where did Bethel play? What post?
We were 281. Post 281. We played at Jeff Davis.
Okay.
Yep, sure did. Well, Caesar Tarrant. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, Tarrant.
They changed the name.
Mark, didn't one of those teams go really, really far in the American Legion playoffs? Was it 48?
Oh, Denby. Y'all went after 1 year. I know 365. They went almost to the World Series. I think they went to the region.
Those guys went really far.
Toronto,
I remember playing in the playoffs, but not as far as those guys did.
Yeah, Wani and Lester and Billy Webb, Mark Bunn,
Billy Reed. Those Newport News,
Oh yeah.
Those Newport News teams were talented too. Goodness.
Yeah. It was not. Yeah, it was a lot of talent. A lot of talent. Good baseball. Fun.
So I before we got on, I was talking. We were talking offline. And I was talking about Blair. How although he was a friend of mine, I looked up to him so much because my first exposure to Blair Wood was in youth baseball in the West League. And I had to be in probably played against you in the 4th and the 5th grade. You were a year older, school grade ahead of me. But I played for the Bears and you played for the Owls. And I am not joking, y'all. Blair was the best player in the league by far. Everybody was scared of him. And he could hit, he could pitch. It was Blair. This is no joke, man. Like you were the man. And was it in I guess my 5th grade because we moved in 6th grade. So I guess that would have been like 79 or 78. Did we play you guys in the championship? Well, I think we beat you guys maybe in the semis because I feel like we played the Tigers in the championship. A red team.
Yeah, because y'all played Barry and them in the championship.
Oh, okay, right.
Because y'all beat us before, thanks.
Yeah. Well, we thought we had no chance.
Everybody was so afraid.
Did he say 1978? Did he say 78?
I think so.
How's that
78. For those
25 years ago.
For anybody listening, yes, we were around in 78. But Blair, because what was funny is I played 2 years before I played at With, I played in Mallory. And then we moved and I played at With, and I was not a good baseball player at all. But I played on the Bears in the 4th grade, and we had Craig Overton, Hurley Miles. We had some football players, on that team. They played with me at Eaton, and we'll talk about us playing you guys at Northampton in football. But we were the bad news bears that first year we were together. We were not good at all. We were horrible. And the next year, we added the coach's daughter and my little brother, Melendez. And Melendez could not play base. We weren't good baseball players. I still joke him because he throws a baseball like a shot put. But like we were the kids you would just put in maybe in right field every now and then, or have a minimum amount that you had to play. I played a little first base. But I remember we were good that next year. And when we got to those playoffs, we thought we would be done in the semis when we went against Blair. And I don't remember or know how we won that game, but Blair was magic, all year. But that somehow we beat you guys. But tell me, Blair, I say all this.
He had the flu.
Won. Yeah.
Rusty, where were you 20 years ago when I needed an agent?
This is no joke, y'all. I'm telling you, I even brought this up to Ron Peterson. Like, Blair Wood was a legend. No offense, Mark. I heard about you, but I experienced.
He was a great
Blair,
ball player.
Great baseball player. And Blair, but tell us about those years, both of you. When did you all first maybe meet each other or play against each other? And tell us about those youth years. Because this is the thing. Like, I play in the men's softball, in the church softball league, and I've done that the past 20 years. But I always felt like the kids that were, if you played high school baseball, to me, I just thought those were the best of the best. And I don't think a lot of people really understand. Like, to me, there's not an equivalent to high school baseball players. Like, almost anybody can play high school football because you can be on a team and it's 50, 60, but you had to have skills. Like, I would see the best of the best, not like maybe play JV and hardly play varsity, but tell us about growing up and how did you start playing baseball to start with?
Go ahead, Mark.
I grew up down at Phoebus, so I played at Phoebus Little League and then Phoebus Pony League, and then JV and varsity over at Phoebus. And I think Blair and I's paths probably crossed first. Blair, it would have been varsity baseball, wouldn't it?
Well, what I remember, like meeting you and like getting kind of, because Brian Wheeler was my cousin. He's my cousin, so.
Yeah. I heard that name once already. I don't want to hear it anymore.
but he played Phoebus Little League.
My high school senior year, I was 13-3. Kankakee beat us 1-0, 1-0, 2-0. And your cousin pitched every time. We couldn't hit that 12-6 curveball.
Yeah, he was nasty. He didn't even give me a break. He threw it to me too. But I remember going down and because Brian and I are the same age, I go down and watch him. And I remember watching this guy, Mark Dunford, pitch. I'm like, thank God I don't play at Phoebus. I play at Hampton with, so I don't have to face him yet. And then watch him in All-Stars. But I think we first crossed paths, like as far as really playing against each other, would have been early in high school.
Yeah.
I want to get y'all's thought, and this is, Rusty, this is right in line with what we're talking about. But Mark, you play football, and I was just thinking, football players played baseball back then. A lot of Ray Savage. I had him on a podcast.
Ray, yeah.
He was Ray Savage was a great baseball player. First American All-American at UVA. But Mark,
Todd Kelly played baseball and football.
Todd Kelly was good.
Steve Nixon was the center at Kickotan and played catch.
I was just texting with Steve earlier.
Yeah, and just all these guys, that played. What do y'all think about specialization? Like, kids don't get to, John Harvell played all three, was a great athlete, coach at Christopher Newport. He's one of our guys too. He's got a couple of episodes with him. But what do y'all think now, Blair? What do you think about all this specialization and the travel ball? Because it seems like it starts in about February and ends in October.
Yeah, I really, I'm gonna be honest, I have mixed emotions. I used to coach a little bit of a travel team, but they were 8 and 9-year-old kids. I like the idea.
Blair, did they know you were the great Blair Wood?
No.
Okay, so
they just knew I was coach that could throw batting practice a little bit.
Okay.
But I really believe, for me, I like the idea of multiple sports. I mean, I just think the one thing I worry about, like I told some of the parents, like, hey, you know what, your son's let's say you're 12 years old. You may not even like baseball 5 years from now. And if you haven't experienced any other sport, then you just fade out. You know, I love baseball, but I still played, everything I could. Pick up basketball, hockey, you name it. I just think getting exposure, and I mean, I really loved playing basketball to help stay in shape for baseball. I mean, when Mark, I don't know if you remember, it's like we weren't allowed to play basketball, at VCU, and it drove me crazy because that was one of the things I used to. I didn't really want to go out and run 3 or 4 miles, but I'll go play full court basketball all day. So
Okay,
I kind of feel like, back to the original question. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't
go ahead.
I'm not big on all this, just the specialization. I'd rather see kids play other things.
Yeah, I agree. I think, as long as the kids are having fun, I think they can overplay, and travel too much. But as long as they're enjoying it and having fun, competition is a good thing. And you don't get that playing the same kids over and over.
No.
I mean, I played up with my brother, and so I think that helped me early. He was 2 years ahead of me, so I got to play with him and his friends and learn from them. But we didn't have travel ball. But I think competition is good, especially if you're playing other kids. I think where you get in trouble is that some parents think that they have to play every inning of every game in every city. And I think it's too much for some kids because they don't enjoy it. If they're not having fun, if they're 15 years or younger, if they're not having fun, they're probably going to get hurt, because they're not paying attention.
Rusty, I know you're going to go, but there's something right in line with this. Here in Loudoun County, so I'm in Eastern Loudoun County or Leesburg. There are all these baseball places where you go and fine tune and all this. One's called the Dugout and this, that, and the other, and it's a profession. And it seems like all the kids who are good, I'm not even talking about kids that are great in major league. There's a lot of major league talent coming out of here. They all go to it and they're going to it at 9 or 10. Blair, what's your thought on that? Because that is a big industry.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things like Marcus said, like we didn't have travel ball. So there are some things, because I loved baseball and playing, like I wish we'd have had some indoor cages to go to in the off season, but I would still play the other sports. I mean, that would just be in addition to, like, I wouldn't not play basketball or not play football just so I could go hit every night. I've Charlie Dragon, Mark, our buddy from VCU. He's down in Richmond, and he has an academy like that and doing great things. And, guys really develop really well. But, I like Mark, to Mark's point, I think it's a lot of it's don't force your son, don't force your daughter, don't force anybody to do it. If that's what they want to do, great. But if they don't, hey, we played with some guys that were phenomenal baseball players that, played soccer and basketball and football and other sports too.
Right.
Yeah. I get it. It's big business though. Yeah.
Yeah. I think once they're old enough to make a decision, hey, this is what I want to do, then they can start that specialization stuff. I wish we'd had some of the technology that's out there, especially from the pitching side of things. Yeah. We figured it out, having more specialized pitching education when I was younger would have been fun, learning how to pitch instead of just grabbing the ball and throwing as hard as you could. That would have been fun for me.
We had Mark, we had Mike Colangelo on, the head coach at Colgan, who played for George Mason, and he played in the majors. It's really funny if you watch the Brad Pitt movie. I don't know why I'm going blank. Right Moneyball. Colangelo's locker is in the background, one of the scenes, but he runs a baseball academy, and they're down in Hampton Roads now. They're down in Hampton Roads. Wayne Gomes, who played in the major leagues.
Yeah, we were talking about Wayne today.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. I mean, was there anything close to that, or was it just the off season, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I remember ODU had some camps.
Yep.
That was a big deal. If you got to go to the ODU camp, that was a big deal. But there wasn't
get invited. Yeah.
Yeah. You had to be invited to that. And there wasn't anything out there close to what's available now.
No.
But again, there comes a time when the players got to be ready for it. If they haven't made up their mind, they're not ready.
Scott Wood. I'm sorry, Rusty. I just want to say Scott Woodleaf was a big. He played all year, and had Robert Banks and Kevin Gould on this 1982-83 year. that won the state championship, and they were talking about what a beast Scott Woodleaf was. He's the football coach at Heritage now. He was up here at Potomac Falls for a while, but he played quarterback. I think he was a guard, and what did he play in baseball? Do you guys know?
I think he was a third baseman. If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
he played all over the place. I played some all-star stuff for his dad.
Yeah.
He coached us a little bit. Yeah, I remember those days.
Blair did not pay me to say any of this, but Blair
Oh God.
was a tremendous all-around athlete. And I'll tell you, he's right about, I didn't play basketball against him growing up, but I did, the times you did sneak into Cary Street Gym, you had game. And you could play. But I'll tell you something else. I am still mad at you because if Blair Wood had been our quarterback at Bethel, Hampton would have been less 2 state championships. Blair.
Oh no.
Blair. When I played at I played at Eaton. I remember playing against Blair. And then other years, I just remember watching Blair. Why didn't you play for Bethel? And I'll say a lot of people thought, oh, I can't play for Coach Cosby. But why didn't you play? Because especially your senior year, my junior year, or I'm sorry, even your junior year, no offense, Terry Van, but Blair.
All right, well,
I know Fullwood has to hit you with this.
Oh, Fullwood talks, he yells at me all the time. So this is honest God truth, Rusty, I promise you. You know how at the end of the school year, all the football players have the meeting with COD, right?
Yep.
So at the end of my 10th grade year, Fullwood had been on me. I said, okay, Darren, I'm going to play. I mean, I love football. I'm going to play. Darren's like, all right, great. So I set up my meeting with Kaz. So I go and I sit down with Kaz, and he says, now you got to remember the time we had Big Inko, Doobie was going to be at Mickey.
Yep.
Carl Watts. I mean, so this is your offensive line, right? So I'm thinking,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll sit behind them and chuck it all day, right? And hand off to Rodney Howard.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go sit down with Kaz, say, hey, I'm really interested in playing, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, great. He goes, starts telling me about how his next year he wants to run the option.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, first of all, I'm 5'9", at that point, 155 pounds, no, why would I want to run away from Carl Watts, away from Doobie, and let some big linebacker, let Ray Savage light me up?
Yeah.
As opposed to dropping back behind them and letting them block for me. I don't mind giving it. Rodney Howard can run the ball 100 times for all I care, but I'm certainly not going to run around the end and pitch it to him and get drilled.
Right.
So that was why.
I apologize. And that actually makes a lot of sense. But to be honest, Kaz's philosophy back then was, and I remember saying, 3 things happen when you throw the ball, and 2 of them are bad.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's interception or incompletion. And our first kid that really threw the ball was Kent Johnson, and that's who I backed up at Northampton. I think he was the first 1,000-yard passer, but his 11th grade year, he was splitting time with Jason Wallace. Mm-hmm. You were already gone to Bethel, but it was
right
our senior year, but right. Jason could run and Kent could throw. And after that, Kent on his own could throw. But before that, you're right, Blair. He didn't want to throw the ball. He did not want to throw the ball. Yeah. And if somebody could have gotten to him 3 years earlier, no joke, like with your talent, and think about the receivers you could have been throwing to.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, D.D. Van.
D.D., yeah.
Curtis Ponton.
Hey, Jason would have been out there.
I want to
Jason.
For the Phoebus people, Mark's got somewhat of a similar story in that 84, it was the fall of 84. We had lost the opener to Kickingham. Mark, I think they won. They didn't crush us, but they beat us. Was it one more game and Simon Gugu Tolliver got academically ineligible, and you were the backup, and there was pressure for you to play quarterback. Tell us about that, Mark.
Yeah, Mark, tell me about, because I know this story.
Oh, I know it too.
Which one? all I remember is that my future was in baseball, and I love football. I wasn't a good football player, but I love the game. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to play. I wanted to get in, and I was our punter. So I punted 5 or 6 times a game. We didn't win a ball game. We didn't win a game in 84 or 85. We didn't have a good program. We had some great athletes. I mean, I remember them all.
Yeah.
Stevie Johnson and Stevie Thompson. We had
I remember
a lot
Steve
of
Thompson.
players. We just didn't have a good program. We didn't have a good program. But I punted. You
You
know,
did.
we may have run a fake punt or two, you know, with me back there. But we played Hampton. I remember Stevie Thompson had 100 yards rushing against Hampton. That was unheard of. And the newspaper article said the rest of the offense was Mark Dunford's punting. He punted a 43-yard average. I still have the article. It's crazy.
And David Presley ended up being the quarterback, sophomore, and that Hampton team had Linwood Lumpkins, Leslie Bailey, just unbelievable football.
Yeah, they had the running back that I played with down in Fox Hill, Robbie Robinson.
Oh,
Robbie
yeah,
Robinson.
Robbie Robinson.
Robinson.
Nobody could tackle that guy.
No,
Yeah.
you know who else was 86, I believe, and we played against him when he was at Fox Hill. Craig Pinello was a good running back for Hampton High. But also on that Fox Hill team, when we were in 9th grade, the quarterback was Doxy Jordan when we were in 9th grade. Doxy.
Yeah,
So Doxy
goes
goes from losing to us in the championship game when Northampton beat Fox Hill to starting for Kickintan as a 10th grader and beating Hampton High School.
I thought Doxy played for Phillips. Did he play for Fox Hill?
He played in 9th grade. He played for Fox Hill. I don't think Phillips had a juniors.
No, they did. They did.
Doxy was a good baseball
I
player.
went to Langley. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's a pretty good baseball player. Yeah.
And didn't somebody mentioned him in maybe an email or something, but didn't Ray Washington play baseball too?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Ray did. Yeah. Ray did.
Yeah, we played.
Beast,
I
man.
played for his dad was my little league coach one year. He was a couple years behind me. He was a good ball player.
Yeah,
Ray
Ray was a
was
real
really
good ball
good.
player. We played all-stars against each other.
Mark, how much pressure was there on you to play quarterback?
Well, we weren't very good, and we just didn't have a good program. I think if we'd have been a better team, there'd been more pressure for me to play because, I had good hand-eye coordination. I could play quarterback. I couldn't run, but I could pass. I think I would have enjoyed playing. I actually quarterbacked our JV team, and I probably enjoyed it. But by the time I was playing varsity football, it was all baseball for me.
Yeah.
Because we weren't very good. If we'd have been good, I think I would have had more pressure to play. I love the game.
And Coach,
I enjoyed punting too. That was fun.
Coach Talon wanted to save you for baseball. We've talked about Coach
Yeah.
Talon.
Yeah.
One of the things, go ahead, Mark.
I was Coach Talon. He was our offensive guy in football, and of course, he was our baseball coach. So the writing was on the wall.
When's the last time you saw him, Mark?
It's probably again 15 years. I haven't seen Coach Talon in a while.
He is still in great shape.
Yeah.
One of the things we were talking about is all the football players for those Phoebus teams that were perennial losers, if they were under Bill D 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, would have been Power 5. We were talking about Steve Johnson, both Johnsons. What's the other? Your running back against Hampton in
Stevie Thompson.
Stevie Thompson, yeah. David Watts.
We had a lot of guys that could play, and it was just disappointing. Say again.
Kevin Bettis, the 84 guy, Todd, big tackle, went to Eastern Michigan or something. Lattimore.
Lattimore. Yes.
Yeah.
Lattimore was
forgot
a
about
great
him,
ball
yeah.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
I
guys.
thought he could play Division I. A couple of those guys could have.
Mhm.
But when you lose all the time, it's hard to get out of that rut.
Yeah.
When Coach D come, he just turned it all around.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I want to transition a little bit to a little more about some of your influences. Can you guys tell me if was there any particular coach or family member, anybody that was a big influence? And I'll say this because you guys were talking. One of the people that influenced me the most was my first ever sports coach, and that was Coach Elrod, Lonnie Elrod's dad.
I remember Elrod.
Coach, Mr. Elrod, so here's another name for you, baseball and basketball. David Keeter.
Yeah.
He was my best friend at Robert E. Lee Elementary, and he told me to let's go play baseball on the same team. And I had to try out at Maui. I didn't know how to catch, throw, anything. But because Davey said that's my friend, Coach Elrod put me on his team. And, because I was on his baseball team, when Davey played basketball, Coach Elrod picked me up for that. But he impacted my life. And I look back at one point when my parents got divorced, like he was a role model for me. But was there anybody in your lives that may have influenced you in your athletic or just in life?
For me coming along, I mentioned my brother Mike. He was 2 years ahead of me. Watching him play and all the guys that played, all those guys that were really good. I learned watching those guys, and I had a lot of good coaches along the way. Back in those days, somebody's parent volunteered, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I learned a little bit from a lot of coaches, how to have fun from some of them, how to come others. But I don't think there was any one person to come along that really had a major impact. I picked different things from different coaches.
Yeah. When
I was at VCU, I had to learn how to pitch. And when I got there, you think you're good and everybody else is just a little bit better. So I had to learn I was Greg Maddox. I pitched around people, but I had to learn that because, in my head, I thought I could still throw it past guys. So I had the fortune of playing for a coach named Paul Keys. He's passed on now, but he was a great baseball player, great hitter. And so I learned a lot about pitching to hitters from him because he was a good hitter. He was our pitching coach out of necessity because we didn't have one. But it was perfect for me because he was a good hitter. So he taught me how to pitch to hitters. And I learned to change up, and that saved me. So for me, my answer is I learned a lot from a bunch of people. But I think the most I learned was when I was first starting to playing up 2 years ahead of me, watching those older players play, and wanting to be like guys like Timmy Burcham.
Yeah, Mark, I just want to I remember Tim and Tom Casey, Doug Davis. Yeah. Who else am I forgetting from like 82, 83, 84?
Baseball wise, there, Phoebus. I played with a lot of good players. Our shortstop, Jeff Beasley, was really good.
Yeah.
Timmy Baxter played center field.
Tony
Russell, Brian Harmon was left fielder, wasn't he?
Yeah. My catcher, Tony Russell was really good. Doug Davis was a year ahead of me. He and I pitched together my junior year. He was a lefty.
Bobby Hibbets was the third baseman. Who was second, Mark?
Bobby was behind me. We put a bunch of people over at second.
Remember
Phoebus was, we had 5 or 6 really good guys, and then we pieced the rest together.
Steve Rickenbach was the right fielder.
Steve Rickenbach played right field. Yeah. Oh yeah.
What about Rob Sawyer?
Rob Sawyer played first.
He pitched.
All left-handed.
That's the whole team right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much the whole team. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Blair. It's you.
The person sports wise that had the biggest influence on me was my dad. Growing up, he was, Rusty. He was president of the Little League, at Hampton.
Yeah.
West, and he was involved in running the Pony League tournaments with District 7. So just always around the ball field, and kind of like Mark, just the older guys. I mean, here I am, just little 7-year-old kid running around, and some 15-year-old or 14-year-old Pony League guy goes, "Hey man, you want to play catch?" Yeah, sure. But my dad, and then like Mark, I had just some phenomenal coaches. Louis Lerner, Coach Lerner for the Owls, and Ralph Wood, who's our coach at Davis for junior high. The 1 year I got to play that before we had to start playing JV, and then Mike Tyndall, Skip Bouchard.
Boo!
Yeah, Boo. And then I got to coach with him for 2 years.
Mike played up there at Tech.
Yeah, Mike Tyndall was a Tech player. He was our JV and varsity and then Legion coach, and I just I think that, when I got into coaching, I took a little bit, I think, from Coach Guzzo as well at VCU and Coach Keys. I took a little bit, I think, from all of them, and still remember a lot of the good lessons that they taught us.
What's funny is I've coached track, football, basketball, all this stuff, but and I noticed though my coaching style, especially when it comes to football, like I talked about this with Darren. I was like, not that I didn't like Coach Cos, but I couldn't. He got on my nerves as a coach. I mean, I just, Coach Inko was the same. Like they were just so hard. I remember one time Coach Ingo cussed me out about something, but it's funny now. But I look back and if I was to describe my coaching style, I think I was probably, to some of the kids, I was a Coach Inko or a Coach Cos. But I want to say I hope I let them know that I did love and care for them. Yeah. Because, back then those guys, they really did. You just didn't know it or see it. So I tried to, outside of sometimes being on the field, even in practice, I tried to joke with them or give them a hug, but I've realized like my intensity and it was probably their perception, especially today's kids,
Yes, sir.
Here's a story. Here's a story for you, Blair. Do you remember when the Richmond Braves would come over and work out with us at VCU?
Yeah.
We used to set up the mounds and stuff for the pitchers. Well, if you remember the old Atlanta Braves, there was a left-handed
Steve, you're going to talk Steve.
pitcher named Derek Lilliquist.
Yeah.
I was watching him throw one day, and the pitching coach that was working with him, I didn't really know who they were at the time. This was early, but this was 1986. So Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach for Atlanta Braves, was in our gym working with Derek Lilliquist. And he's throwing this thing that looks like a screwball. And I'm like, after they got done, I said, Coach, what is he throwing? He said, who are you, first of all? And I said, oh, I play for VCU. I said, I pitch. What's he throwing? He said, he's throwing a changeup. I said, what's that? Because all I threw was try to throw it hard and throw a curveball. And nobody ever taught me a changeup, And so he said, just hold it like this and throw it like that. And from then on, I could get people out. That was fun. Awesome. So to bring it all full circle, you're asking, how we were influenced. I think coming along, you just learn by watching other people.
Yeah.
And I think I'm fortunate to have done that, because that day, I mean, I remember my freshman year getting my brains beat out and Guzzo coming out to the mound and saying to my catcher, not to me, he looked at my catcher and he says, what's he throwing? And our catcher told him what I was throwing. We're losing 3-0 in the second inning, and I'm giving up 6 hits. He says, he looks at the catcher. He says, what's he throwing? And he told him, and then he looked at the catcher, never looked at me, looked at the catcher and said, throw something else. So I had to learn something else. So the changeup was the key to my success.
Oh, man, that is great. So I do want to add, so I don't know if you got a chance to think about this before, but if you had to name your Mount Rushmore, so four people.
I was just getting ready to go. We're thinking alike, man. That's exactly.
Yeah, I used to think it was 5 on the Mount Rushmore, but I guess it's 4. Who would be your Mount Rushmore of baseball players of all time?
I just wrote it down, man. Go ahead.
How many?
Mark, go ahead.
Do you want 4?
4.
Wow.
How many do you want? 4?
4.
All right. So let me get clarification. So do you want it to be guys?
I wanted to meet Nolan Ryan.
So hold on. It's you just have to hold on. Tell us is it your favorite 4, or who do you consider the best 4 of all time?
Oh, let's do all time and in our lifetime, because I wrote down in our lifetime. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, in our lifetime. Okay.
In our lifetime.
In my lifetime, the guys I saw play that I would consider my 4 best, of course, is Pete Rose, best hitter ever. Nolan Ryan was the best pitcher I ever saw. I mean, the guy pitched for 27 years, has 1,000 more strikeouts than any pitcher ever. I used to love to watch the Big Red Machine. So, I think of Johnny Bench.
There you go.
I think of Johnny Bench behind the plate.
Yeah.
It was a little before my time, but I've seen a lot of video. Roberto Clemente in right field. I would have loved to have seen more of him play. You know, Barry Bonds,
Mark,
probably one of the
four,
best hitters I've ever seen.
four,
That's it.
four,
All right.
Blair was the math major.
Blair.
I'm sorry.
four. Mark, you sound like a Virginia Tech guy with your math skills there. But no, I appreciate it. But Blair, again, Blair, we actually had a class together in college. I think it was risk and insurance, like risk and insurance or something. You were in my class. And I think when we were in that class, that's the year I pledged. I think it was in the spring of 90. And I didn't go to class a lot, but I remember, I think that was the one class I had with you. So
we probably did go. We probably missed the same amount of classes. That would have been my senior year.
Yeah.
So see, my Mount Rush, Mark Dunford. You know, kind of. So I got to say Johnny Bench. He's my all-time favorite baseball player, but I do believe the best catcher ever to play the game. Pete Rose. I mean, I'm a Reds fan, so I'm gonna try not to name 4 Reds. I tell you, you know, somebody I really more saw towards the tail end of his career, but I think Hank Aaron is the most underrated player in all of Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
I think Hank he could be the best player ever. You know, and then I'm gonna, I've got to say
Willie Mays both.
Willie Mays, yeah, and then probably Tony Gwynn. I read a thing, a stat where Tony Gwynn could go 0 for 1,000 and still bat over 300 for his career. So
wow, I heard that too. Yeah,
You know, he played point guard for San Diego State.
he did. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those would probably be, and that's probably a little skewed because it's like my favorite players, but yeah, if you go all time, you got. Well, no, I'm only saying 4. I went to VCU.
Hold on. So it's something, I guess the Bethel people know how to follow directions. Okay, that's what it is. It wasn't a VCU thing. It was a Bethel thing.
Go ahead, Rusty.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
I'm still working on all time, but this is in no particular order. So Pete Rose to me is the best hitter ever. Greg Maddux is the best pitcher in my lifetime. And an honorable mention goes to Roger Clemens and Nolan Ryan.
Love Nolan Ryan.
Derek Jeter and Barry Bonds.
A funny Roger Clemens story for you.
Barry Bonds, because of the steroids, is never going to get the credit that he deserves.
Yeah.
Unbelievable baseball player, seeing the ball, hitting the ball. And there's so many others. I mean, there's been some great, I miss the old days of baseball. Guys, I get ready to move. I've got a bin of about 40,000 baseball cards. And I got all that stuff. And I remember it was 81 was Ricky Henderson's rookie year. Now, baseball cards weren't big yet. Remember Giant Open Air with the donuts and the ladies baking and all that? Right to the left, there was a pet store, but in the back, they sold baseball cards.
Petland.
I bought packs. I must have had 20 rookie Ricky Hendersons. And I go back to that time, and it's a shame what's happened to baseball cards. But all-time, Willie Mays, best baseball player. So that's what I would say, Willie Mays. And then I'm thinking of a big Yankee. You got to go with a big Yankee. And then that Big Red Machine, is there a better? I mean, unbelievable. Who was third? Was Rose at third?
Rose at third.
Concepcion
on it short. Morgan.
Joe Morgan.
Joe Morgan a second.
First base was
Tony Perez.
Damn, you got it. All right, George Foster was the outfield.
Cesar Geronimo and Ken Griffey.
George Foster.
Geronimo, Ken Griffey, bench, and who were the pitchers?
Jack Billingham, Gary Nolan.
It didn't matter who was pitching.
I was going to say, that's exactly what I was going to say. It didn't matter with that team. That was a good one.
Yeah. Kirk, I'm going to break your heart on something. So I'm a big card collector myself. Let me tell you a card trade I did years ago. I traded a rookie at the time. Now, this is the year it came out. So it's a Ricky Henderson rookie card. That was the same year, 81 was the first year Donruss made cards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I traded a Topps Ricky Henderson for a Donruss Bucky Dent.
Bucky Dent.
Oh,
That's like giving somebody $100 now and them giving you nothing back.
Yes.
I got a funny Roger Clemens story for you guys.
No, go ahead.
I'm in the airport. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, going somewhere on vacation, and one of my daughters has a Red Sox jersey on. And whenever we're in a crowd, we play this lookalike game. Who could find somebody who looks like somebody to pass time? And so I'm in line, and behind me is some 6'6" monster in sunglasses. And I look, and it's Roger Clemens. And I'm a pitcher, so I've enjoyed watching him pitch.
Yeah.
I don't like some of the other antics, but as a pitcher, he was fun to watch. And so I asked him, Mr. Clemens, how are you? He said, I'm okay. He's trying not to draw attention to himself, although he's got sunglasses on at 5 o'clock in the morning in Dulles. And he's looking at me like, what do you want me to sign? I said, I don't want an autograph. I said, it's nice to meet you. I've watched you play, admired you as a pitcher for a long time. This was the day after he had just gotten off of all the steroid stuff.
Oh, wow.
So he's coming and going somewhere. And I said, if you don't mind, could I get maybe just a picture of my daughter? You know, she watches the Red Sox with me, and she's right over there with the Red Sox shirt. He said, yeah. He said, a quick picture would be fine. I just don't want a lot of attention. So he comes over to my daughter, and I'm ahead of him. And I said, hey, here's Roger Clemens. She goes, yeah, no way. And I said, here he is. And so here comes Roger Clemens. And so he stands beside my daughter, and I take a picture. And about that time, here comes about 30 Boy Scouts. There's Roger Clemens, Roger Clemens. I'm like, I'm so sorry. We go get our bags, and we go get our bags and do it next. And he's on the same tram. And I said, I'm so sorry, Roger. He said, it's okay.
That's cool. That's a great story. Okay, so we're going to have to do this, add some of our questions in the future. Who are famous people you've seen in airports? All right, that I think that's a good. Anybody got any real quick? Anyone pops to anybody's mind?
Bill Russell.
Blair, anybody?
I saw Franco Harris one time, and I saw Kareem Abdul-Jabbar one time.
Oh, cool. I guess
can't miss those guys.
Yeah, you can't miss them. I was one time, my wife and I had a layover in Cleveland. We were going to Kansas City, and sitting across from him, I was like, that's Vanilla Ice. I said, it was like, he was just sitting there. I was like, I didn't say anything to him, but I was like, that's Vanilla Ice. Okay.
You didn't stop, collaborate, and listen?
No, I didn't. But I do want to give my top 4 real quick. I grew up an Orioles fan because where we grew, where us growing up, the team was always on the local cable, or not the local, just regular TV.
Frank
were the
Robinson,
Baltimore Orioles.
Cal Ripken.
Oh man! And then as a kid in '83, they won the World Series.
Yes, sir.
So, but my first favorite team of all time were the New York Yankees, because when I played for Coach Elrod in the 3rd grade, I played for the Yankees, and I wore number 4. But Reggie Jackson wore 44. So my favorite player first time of all time was Reggie Jackson. Then I couldn't be a Yankee and an Oriole fan, so I switched to just the Orioles. And Cal Ripken, to this day, is my favorite baseball player of all time. Love Cal Ripken. I actually got a chance to see him play before he retired in Baltimore. I even have a poster of him, and I have his jersey.
2 jacks. I went to a game. He hit 2 jacks. Sorry, Rusty, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, that my favorite player is Cal Ripken. But then I needed to find a picture. So I'm going to, and my other player would be Ricky Henderson. All right. But now I'm about to do some Phoebus math. So when I go with my pictures, I'm going to have 3. I'm going to go, I didn't want to just go all or something. Jim Palmer, Randy Johnson, and Catfish Hunter.
Okay.
That's my picture. And, there you go. They can do that because pitching staffs, you got more.
Right.
You got more. So there you go. All right. And nobody cares about my top 4, but they, that's who I loved growing up.
By the way, nobody said Ted Williams, last guy to hit 400. He's pretty incredible player. Yeah.
Pretty good player. Yep. But I never saw him play. All right. So let's move on. We got and so let me just tell you guys, Kirk tried, and we always try to wrap these up in under an hour, but we know we have good guests when we go over that. So what? We're going to go over the hour. Anyway, we're going to try to wrap this up, but I think there's still some more great things I'd like to hear from you guys. And one is, all right, I talked about who you saw in the airport, and I just said something about, people we've played against and with. But is there anybody in your cell phone that if I asked you if you could text that person, all right, because you have them on your phone, they would hit you back? They would actually hit you back, because you could have somebody's number because of some business, but then they would never care or know who you were. Who is in your phone that you could text and we would go, okay, and they don't have to be famous, but you could go, oh, that's pretty interesting. Mark?
Actually,
well, besides me having Blair in my phone, okay, Ron Peterson.
I got
all these
I got Blair on my phone.
Theodore
I got Mark.
Johnson. Yeah, I don't have you, Mark. I got to get yours. We email, but go ahead, Mark. Who is there anybody that we would go, okay?
Yeah, I got one interesting one for you. Let me see if I can find it.
This is gonna be fun.
I don't know if you can see it.
You got to watch. Don't let people see the number.
Roberto Clemente Jr.
Whoa!
Cool.
That's
Tell us about that.
sweet,
Oh.
Yeah. How did
Yeah,
that come about?
it's
I
an
didn't know
interesting
that.
story. I do insurance, and one day his aunt came into my office to get insurance, and she said her name was Estella Clemente, and I said, "How do you spell that? Like Roberto?" And she said, "Yeah, just like it." So I had to ask her, and she said, "Yeah, I'm an aunt." She was up here in Northern Virginia working for FEMA, and so as luck would have it, one of my new Stella, of course, I wanted a picture, and so I asked the new employee who was from Pittsburgh to take my picture with the Stella, who had never been to Pittsburgh, but was Roberto Clemente's aunt. And so the story goes on and on. This employee from Pittsburgh puts Estella in touch with Roberto Clemente Jr. through the Pittsburgh people. Monday morning, she goes and spends the weekend and taking the aunt to meet Roberto because he's in DC. If you remember Steve Calise, who got shot in that baseball game, the congressional baseball game or softball game.
Yeah.
Roberto Jr. was throwing out the first pitch that day. So my employee takes Estella to meet Roberto Jr. Monday morning, my employee shows up with Junior in my office.
Wow.
He wants to hire her to come work for him. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He said, hi, and he reached out and I said, I know who you are. I watched Game 3, World Series, Roberto Clemente Award. I know the whole story.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Am I in a dream or something? And so she went to work for him. They got married. They have 2 children. He took me to World Series
Holy smokes.
when Houston played the Dodgers in Houston.
Wow.
We got to go to the World Series. I went up for the baby shower in Pittsburgh at the Diamond in Pittsburgh. I went to his dad's museum. We become good friends. Here's the Ricky Henderson story. I go to spring training in Arizona to see the Oakland A's play. Chris Pender's son Chad played for them at the time, so I was on vacation and I went to spring training and went to see the game. Chad got all 4 of his tickets. Me, my wife, Roberto Jr., and his now wife, my former agent. And I'm standing. We get seats. We go walking. I'm standing there on the first baseline, waiting to introduce Roberto Jr. to Chad. And here comes Ricky Henderson. And so all the fans are like, Ricky, and he won't sign anything because he can't sign them all. And so he just keeps walking. Roberto says, yo, Ricky, in his Puerto Rican accent. And Ricky just turns his head because he knows it's somebody he knows. And Ricky Henderson comes over. I'm standing there like a kid in a candy store talking to Roberto Clemente Jr. as he's talking to Ricky Henderson. Ricky said, hey, how are you? I said, I'm good, Ricky. How are you? Like, I'm an insurance salesman from Virginia. You know what I'm saying? There's my story.
That's
Real quick, Blair, for you, before the game, I went over to the table and talked to George Foster. He was signing autographs.
52 homers. I remember that.
Yes, sir.
He
Hit
still looks like he
320
could play. He still looks
yeah.
like he could play. So built.
Nice.
Real quick, what just came out that had a lot of Reggie Jackson commentary? Was it something on the Yankees or Reggie Jackson?
There's a show on it's a Reggie Jackson special on Prime Video.
Yeah,
Yes.
on Prime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. It's very good. I watched it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What about you, Blair?
To finish up my story real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
That guy, Roberto Clemente Jr. is salt of the earth. He is his dad's son. I mean, he is just that good of a person. He still does a lot of philanthropic work all over the world, and just a wonderful guy. It was fun to meet him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody? What about you, Blair? Anybody do just be interesting?
No. I mean, now actually, probably the person that like would be a recognizable name or something. Mark's probably got in his phone too is Jerry DiPoto. He is the general manager for the Seattle Mariners.
Oh wow!
He was our teammate at VCU. I lived with him for a year. Mark, you lived with him for a year too, didn't you? Weren't y'all roommates for a while?
Yeah. What a great guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it
Wow.
might take him a while to respond to my text because he's busy, but I think funny
Yeah.
Jerry. So he was a funny story. Jerry was rumored to be I know he interviewed for the Nats general manager position years ago.
Wow.
And Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore. So so I'm like, we had talked. I saw him at a ACC tournament when he was still with the Diamondbacks and scouting, and then he's like, "Hey, if I ever get a big job, man, I'm like, Jerry, my dream would be to work for baseball. He goes, I'll hire you." I'm like, fantastic. So it comes across the ESPN. Jerry DiPoto's accepted the job as the Nats general manager. So you can ask my wife. I'm jumping around the house. I'm like, this is awesome. I'm going to go work for the Nats, blah, blah, blah. So I text him. I'm like, hey, man, congratulations. He texts me back. Almost immediately like, hey, they kind of jumped the gun. I haven't accepted the position yet. I was like, oh, okay.
Forgetting.
I'm actually negotiating too with the Angels. He ended up taking the Angels job.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he signed. He was the Angels general manager when they signed Pujols away from the Cardinals for like $400 million.
Yeah, him and CJ Wilson.
CJ Wilson for like 300. I said, Jerry, what's it like to spend $700 million? He's like, it's unbelievable. But yeah, great.
so he played pro baseball.
9
Yeah,
years. 9 years.
He played
Yeah.
with you remember we went to go see him when he was with the Indians?
Yeah. Me and Mark and Tina. Tina went.
My wife Tina, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I remember. I just looked at a picture. I remember him.
Yeah. He played with us. Jerry and I actually
he was good.
met.
He was all baseball, that guy.
Oh, we actually met when we were in the 10th grade at an ODU baseball camp. He was there from Jersey, and I was over, and we kind of hit it off really, Kirk, over baseball cards. We started talking about baseball cards. Our freshman year, we had to go to study. We were required to go to study hall every night, first semester. So me and Jerry would go in study hall, and we would write up baseball card tests for each other. Like, what is Joe Morgan doing in his 1976 tops? And what is Pete? That's what we did during study hall.
Man, that is a great story. See, I'm so glad we had you guys because I didn't even realize that's where he was.
He's doing really good. Jeff
Yeah.
Zona from VCU just got in the VCU Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We at the golf tournament this past year, Jerry came from Seattle to be there for Jeff.
Oh, he made it out. That's awesome.
He made it out. Yeah, Jeff Zona got in the Hall of Fame, and Jerry played golf with me and Chris Pender and
Good.
a couple of people, but he's doing really good. Great guy.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That is cool. Real cool. Man, you guys are awesome. Look, I could have done this. okay, who do you have on Facebook that you could message because you don't have their phone number, but they can hit you back. And if I said that, Kendrick Warren, he always gets back to me.
Nice.
Yeah, he's gonna. Been trying to get him on the show.
Get him on the show.
He's always
Kendrick
busy.
is phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, he's passed away. But Chris Cheeks,
Yeah.
Chris
was a nice guy.
was a great career at VCU.
Yes, he did.
But then he was doing very well in coaching.
Yeah.
He coached at VCU assistant, West Virginia. Last couple of years, he had been
Boston
Boston College.
Yeah.
But Chris, I could text him, and whenever he was in town, he would leave me tickets. And this is, over like a 20-year period. I remember he was, and it was just like, and we were not great friends, but I knew him, but he would on Facebook, comment or like stuff. And unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago.
Yeah. I was sad when I heard that. Chris was a really good guy.
Really good guy. Yep. All right. So we want to wrap this up, but I do have one or two more questions. And just to get I think our audience, I know I've learned a lot about you guys. We were in this pandemic and I really hadn't gotten into the streaming thing until I was stuck in the house. And I think the first thing that really got me into streaming was Tiger King. All right. Do you guys, are you in any Netflix? You just talked about Prime Video. Is anything you guys binge? And if not, then what about maybe one of your favorite movies of all time? And what I mean by that is, if you are going through your television and you see like Shawshank Redemption or something, do you stop every time?
That's a good
one. What about you, Blair? We'll start with you.
All right,
do you stream anything?
I just Lauren and I just streamed The Night Agent on Netflix. It's good. It was really good.
Oh, I've got that saved. It was good. Okay,
it was good.
Right.
Yeah, we watched it, and then
Night Agent.
Yeah, highly recommend.
That was great.
Okay,
highly recommend that.
Yeah, and then for a movie, there's two. Actually, there's three. I'm sorry, Bethel math. There's four. I have to stop every time.
All right. This tells us a lot about you, Blair.
My favorite movie of all time is Field of Dreams. So
okay.
I actually went to the Field of Dreams site last summer.
Oh, wow.
Then, Hoosiers, have to stop Hoosiers.
Yep.
I have to stop Remember the Titans. Love Remember the Titans.
Blair, you're right there with me, bro. It's like you've clearly watched this show before because you're naming all of mine. But go ahead.
And Tombstone. Love Tombstone.
That's my wife's. That is my wife's.
Gotta stop for Tombstone. I'll be your Huckleberry.
I've never seen that.
That's my wife's.
Kirk, you've never seen that?
Never seen it.
Oh,
that's Kurt Russell, right? Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Wyatt Earp.
Kurt,
oh my
you
God.
have got to watch that.
My wife. I've never seen it.
Yeah. My wife every time. Oh, she loves that. She used to have it on VHS.
Yeah.
Mine is one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time, Die Hard.
Oh,
right.
That's not a Christmas movie.
That's a big debate.
It doesn't mean if it's Die Hard, Die Hard, or Die Hardest. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, Blair mentioned mine. The only other one I would add is Hoop Dreams. The guy that directed that is actually from Hampton. He played basketball at Hampton High School.
What's his name? Steve.
I forget Steve something, but he's the one that also did the Allen Iverson 30 for 30.
Yeah, he was very biased in some ways about that. He made that more. He sensationalized a lot.
He's a crabber, and we were Bruins, so figure that go ahead. But anyway, all right. And so great, you guys clearly have a good taste in movies and television shows. And then this is the last one. All right. I was going to ask, I'm not going to ask it. If you won $5 billion, what would you do? But we all know Mark's got $5 billion. So he just be like, living my life.
Yeah. Like, hey, I get up tomorrow and do what I do every day.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So here we go. If you could create your own college outside of Virginia Commonwealth University.
I like this.
Your own college, okay? It's clearly going to have to be a private school because you're not the state.
Right.
But you could what would you name your college? Okay. So like a BYU, okay? But like what would you name? This is your college. What would you name the college? What would be the sports you'd have? What would be your colors and mascot?
Mm,
Oh, wow.
that's a tough one.
Yeah, that is a tough.
I'll give you an example. Like, so Blair, you could easily be BWU, Blair Wood University, but I would easy one for me is I'd be Hudson University. If you watch any television show like Law and Order, anything that takes place in New York, whenever there's a college crime, they always said Hudson University.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I would have the real Hudson University, but I would put it somewhere up here in Northern Virginia, not far from probably you, Mark, somewhere off of 66, right outside of Prince William, maybe, so that you could sell it as a DMV, DC Metro school, but it'd be a big campus, kind of like a Maryland, but with football. We'd be in the ACC. We'd be the Bruins. Okay, the Byrd Bruins. So we're Hudson Byrd Bruins, and our colors, unfortunately, they're not green and gold, but they are UNC like blue, light blue, dark blue.
Okay.
And I hire you guys as the baseball coaches.
Oh, well, then please get started.
But go ahead.
By all means.
Any ideas, Mark?
Oh, wow. Well,
Man, I don't know. I really love the Shenandoah Valley, so it'd have to be up here somewhere.
Yep.
We'd have hockey and we'd have all the snow sports. We'd have to have baseball, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is the Shenandoah University Phantoms? I don't know. Something like that.
There's already a Shenandoah University.
It would
It's very nice.
the
My
Shenandoah
son was
Valley
recruited by them. They made his top 3 for football.
Shenandoah Valley
Yeah.
Phantoms or something.
Okay.
that's good.
Blair.
I go with MBW University. That's my daughter, Morgan Blair. Wood.
Oh, sweet.
So that would be the university. Colors, and Rusty, I know Melendez would appreciate this. We'd have to be black, gold, and red like the Maryland Terrapins because of my boy Lenny Bias.
Yeah. Yes. My wife graduated and ran track at Maryland, so I'm a big Maryland fan, and I love Lynn Bias.
Hold on, real quick. I saw Lynn Bias a week before he died walking on the boardwalk in Virginia Beach in '86. By the way,
wow. We had season tickets when he was a player, so I love Lenny B. I was crushed when he died. We definitely would have baseball, basketball, football, hockey, women's basketball. I'm gonna tell you what we definitely would have to have is women's softball.
Softball,
I love watching the women's softball.
It's fun to watch.
Oh, it's huge.
They can play. They're tough.
Hold on 1 second. So Blair, I know you have a daughter. I have a daughter, but and I think Mark, you said you have a daughter. Kirk, I know you have 2 daughters, but I'm so glad that women's college sports are really starting to be appreciated and take it off.
Yeah, so basketball is awesome, man.
Softball World Series and this past Final Four have been tremendous. So I'm sorry, but I just wanted to point that out.
No, that's
because I've appreciated it for years. But go ahead.
No, same here. I have too. So yeah, that would be my school, and we'd have to be the we'd have to be the Rams. I'm sorry. I know I can't. Got to be my Rams,
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. I love that. Hey, I was telling my wife, I said, I think we were probably with VCU Rams because, and I don't know if this is true, but is it because we were first RPI? So it makes sense to be the Richmond Rams, maybe? Because I don't know why. Where would you get VCU Rams? Does anybody know?
I don't know. That's good. Cool. Good.
Okay. I'm just wondering. All right, Kirk. Why don't you go ahead on and close us out with
Rusty? I gotta tell my favorite Mark Dunford story of all.
Oh, time. Go ahead, yeah, definitely.
And if you cut it, you can cut it. But
no.
First, I thank you for letting us do this. I've loved every minute of it. I love getting a chance to see Mark and you guys. So, if you know baseball, we're superstitious. Everything about baseball is superstitious. Yep. And Coach Guzzo might be the most superstitious baseball guy I've ever been around in my life. Like, if you're not in the game, if you're sitting in a certain spot on the dugout, and good things
you guys
happen,
might want to cut this one.
You had to stay right there, like you couldn't move. Coach, I got to use the bathroom. I don't care. Hold it, because good things happen. So we're playing Wake Forest. Mark's with the pitchers. Mark knows the story. He's laughing. He's down in the bullpen with the pitchers. our pitcher's name's Tony Hellman. Tony is throwing a no-hitter. Now, when there's a no-hitter going on, you don't talk about it.
You don't talk about it. You don't change
You don't
anything,
say a
right?
word. So here we are. It's about, no exaggeration, I think it's the 7th or the 8th inning. I mean, he's dealing.
Oh,
He's
Cruising.
control. Mark comes strolling in from the bull. Now we played at the Richmond at the Diamond, so we got to use the locker room. Here comes Mark in between innings, running in, I guess to grab some jackets out of the locker room. So Mark comes in, goes down the stairs. We're all sitting there. Mark comes out, got the jackets, runs up the stairs, stops, turns around to everybody on the bench. Coach, he goes, "Hey guys, did y'all know Tony's throwing a no-hitter?" He starts laughing and runs down to Coach Guzzo, goes absolutely berserk. What in the blank is wrong with Dunford? My hand to the Holy Bible. I swear, the first guy up,
Yes.
it's a double off the wall. There goes the no-hitter. I thought Coach Guzzo was going to make Mark run home that night. Never.
Mark.
Then one more quick Mark story.
Lesson learned on that one.
We're playing on the summer league team out of Newport News. We're playing in the Summer Collegiate World Series in Cincinnati. So we're all up there. The Braves are in town. Now, Mark didn't tell you all this, but for at least one season, maybe two, he was a clubhouse manager for the Richmond Braves.
Oh wow.
For the summer. Yeah. So we're up and of course I'm a big Reds fan. I mean, we're in Cincinnati. We have an off day. I'm like, man, I'd love to go to the game. Bunch of them sitting around talking. Mark goes, "Hey, I can get us tickets." Like, "Mark, how you gonna get us tickets?" He goes,
None of us had any money.
"Yeah." He's like, "I'm gonna call Derek Lilliquist, the pitcher he was talking about earlier, because he knew him from being the clubhouse guy. He was with the Braves." And so some of the guys didn't play with us at VCU. And I'm like, Mark really does know this guy. Like, how are you going to get in touch with him? He calls the stadium, asks to speak to the Atlanta Braves clubhouse, gets Derek Lilliquist on the phone, and Derek Lilliquist leaves us tickets for the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's my buddy.
Three River Stadium.
Yep. It was
Wow.
awesome.
Hey, Mark, did you play any minor league? Did you play any professional baseball?
No. I was good, but I wasn't that good.
No.
And then I got hurt my junior summer, and I rehabbed enough to see 6 games my senior year. My arm is done.
Okay.
He had the talent. And I can say that because I played with him and I faced him. He could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
If he hadn't gotten injured, he'd have made it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is great. But anyway, so look, thank you guys. This has been, I hope it was as much fun for you as it was for me. And I don't care if we get 0 views, because this has been fun. But I know we're going to get a bunch.
This will do
very well.
And DunfordInsurance.com. Dunford.
No, let him do it.
Yeah.
Anything you
got
want to
Our
promote.
job to set them up.
Okay, yeah. But
Nice.
please, anything you want to promote, if it's your church, if it's an organization you volunteer for, please take this time to do it. Because you guys have really blessed a lot of people in your lives, and we just want people to know just how great.
Go online and shop with Amazon and call me to insure whatever it is you're buying.
Yeah.
DunfordInsurance.com.
Exactly. Thank you.
Farm, business, boat. He's got it all.
Yep, we
All
do
right.
everything.
And
All right.
anybody in the Richmond area that would, my daughter is a social worker there. So anybody that would support Richmond area social work, please do so.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's good stuff.
Nice.
That is good stuff.
I had to plug
All
that.
right. Well, good. So look, guys, thanks again. You have been amazing. I'm really, Mark, it's nice
A
to
lot of fun, man.
meet you. I
I had
know
a
I've
great
probably
time.
been around you at VCU. Blair, no joke. Yo, I am not joking when I say Blair is the man, not was the man, is the man.
Is the man.
Because
The man.
I look back and I know I was talking to Fullwood or something. And I go, like, I don't know why Blair and I couldn't have been best friends. It's just because we were in different grades and we just didn't happen to be in the same crew. But like, we have so much in common.
We do.
And you're one, great athlete, but a really good guy, a strong Christian. And so really, like, we probably couldn't be friends because I looked up to you. And I realized, like, we were both born in 68. Like, dude, we're the same age. Like,
No. Well, you know what? We can be close, tight friends for the rest of our lives.
There you go. There you
Starting
go.
now.
No doubt. No doubt. Hey, so for Mark Dunford, Kirk Hilliard, Keith Fanning, and my man Blair Wood, all-time great for the Bethel Bruins. This has been the Kirk and Byrd Show. We are out.